Okay, Algebra 2 scholars, we're going to take a few minutes of notes. My husband has tested positive for COVID, and I'm not feeling well. So right now, I tested negative. I'm going to test again tomorrow, but I'm going to do these notes with you like I had planned, and we'll play the rest of the week by ear. In the meantime, get out your notebooks. This is reciprocal functions in 9.3. Now, because I'm at home and I don't have my unit circle with me, we'll just do the best we can. It'll only be a few minutes. All right, first of all, let's just remind ourselves. So, ka, toa. So we know sine means opposite over hypotenuse. So when we talk about reciprocal functions, that means if we're talking about h over o, then remember sine is the opposite or the reciprocal of what we call cosecant. And remember, we say that that's CSC. When we talk about cosine, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, its inverse is what we call secant, and we abbreviate that as SEC. And then the tangent inverse, or excuse me, reciprocal is cotangent. And we always write that as COT. So remember, these are reciprocals: sine, cosine, and tangent. So I want to make sure that we started there. Okay, these are all reciprocals. And I'm just going to do a couple of examples before I send you off on your packet. Just say, for instance, if I have, let me put examples. If I have cosine of 2 pi over 3, I look in my unit circle. Again, I don't have it in front of me, but you could turn it all around and you get negative 1/2. Okay, so similarly, if you want to find the inverse of that, say you want to find the secant of 2 pi over 3, all you have to do is find this, and it's 1 over this value. So how many times does negative 1/2 go into 1? That's a negative 2. And so that's how you find the secant. That's how you're going to do this for anything that is a reciprocal. So another example might be this. Let's say we want to find the sine of 315 degrees. Okay, we do our unit circle. We find that it's 1 over root 2, or negative, and when we rationalize it, it's negative root 2 over 2. So if I then want to find the cosecant of 315 degrees, okay, it's equal to 1 over this value. Okay, that value was negative 1 over root 2. So if I'm going to do my work right here, 1 divided by negative 1 over root 2. This is my fraction. I'm going to do keep, flip, change. So keep the first one, flip the second one, change the sign. So cosecant of 315 is negative radical 2. You probably could have done that in even a quicker step than I did. Another thing in our examples that I want you to write down here, so that's example 1, example 2, is let's say we're looking at tangent of 7 pi over 6. Now, one thing we talked about when we were doing it the other day is that tangent equals sine over cosine. We also, when we were doing that chart, it was y over x. Remember, sine equals y, cosine equals x. But what you can do for here, reciprocal functions, is you can just do sine of 7 pi over 6 divided by cosine of 7 pi over 6. Again, using your unit circle, Right, this is going to end up being -1/2 on the top. You're going to divide that by -√3/2. And that's not going to be too bad, right? Some things are going to cancel. But again, we're going to, first I'm going to rewrite it. And now I'm going to do my KFC over here. So I keep the first one, I flip the second one, don't forget your negative, and you change the sign. So the beauty here is these 2's will cancel. The negatives will also cancel. You end up with 1/√3, and you know we're going to rationalize that by multiplying the top and the bottom to give us a number that we can use. Okay. So I've got just a few more examples, and then I'm going to have you do these problems on your own. Okay, so say you have cosecant 5π/6. It's the same thing as up here, right? You find the sine of that, and you write it 1 under. That's what a reciprocal is. So you grab your circle, figure out what that is, or draw the triangle. You can always draw the triangle. 1 divided by 1/2. 1/2 goes in there twice. Fifth example. Say I want to do secant of 135. Okay, that's the reciprocal of cosine 135. Either draw your triangle, use your unit circle, and you get 1 divided by -√2/2. Okay, I'm going to end up doing 1 times 2/√2 with a negative. With my KFC, I'm going to end up getting 2/√2, that's with a negative. I'm going to rationalize. Okay, that's going to give me -2√2/2. Those are going to cancel, and I end up with -√2. Okay. I think that's all I'm going to do for right now. If you need more, or you didn't follow any of this, it's in the notebook, in the OneNote class notebook under 9.3 day 2. Now, just to give you a heads up, because what I'm going to ask you to do is this worksheet that is already in your packet. Who were the first people to invent a plane that couldn't fly? And again, please do this on a separate sheet. Show all work for full credit. Okay, I'm just going to do number 1 with you, and you're going to try to figure all these out. Of course, your answers will match over here, and your answer down at the bottom should make sense to answer the question. So number 1 says sine 45 plus cosine 45. Write the problem down, please. And then we know this is √2/2. This is √2/2. You're going to add those together. It's the same thing, so now you have 2 of them. This, of course, will cancel out. Your final answer is √2, and you're going to match that, okay, to, it says O. Okay, so make sure you put your name, your period. You have the rest of the class to do it. I have no idea who my sub's going to be, but good luck. Okay, just make sure you can do, and I'm planning on being back Tuesday unless, of course, I test positive, and then it'll be a few days. All right, go.